There are a few skills in life that once you learn them, you never forget. There's hair product application, clothing style, and knowing that gray will always be the new black. And one of the earliest things that never leaves your brain is how to ride a bike. No matter how many years you go without pedaling, you will always be able to do it. But what brought bicycles into our history is no longer a mystery. Being curator of transportation at the Henry Ford Museum in Detroit, Michigan has its perks. For our story on bicycles, Matt Anderson rode this old-school contraption to meet me in the museum's Greenfield Village. And I'll be honest, I'm glad it was him and not me. The original big wheel.
That's it.
That is a tremendous looking vehicle.
It's a lot of fun to ride. It's a good view up there.
You know, bikes are such a fact of life. I've never before wondered who invented the bicycle.
Yeah, the earliest sort of practical ancestor to the bicycle was something called the Draisine, invented by a German by the name of Karl von Drais in 1817. It was really nothing more than a wooden seat with two wooden wheels on either end. It had no pedals. Instead, you'd sit on that seat and scoot along.
Like Flintstone style with your feet?
Exactly, kick off with your feet, and it seems a little silly now, but it was a big improvement. You could cover twice as much distance with just as much effort.
How was the Draisine received by the public?
People at first loved them. They thought they were so much fun, but they were a fad that kind of burned out pretty quickly. But 50 years later, someone realizes, you know, if we put pedals on one of these wheels, we can have a self-contained human-powered vehicle with no need to kick off against the ground. And that leads to the ordinary or high wheel bike we see back there. The idea was the bigger the wheel, the farther distance the bike would travel for each revolution of the pedals. So it was a way to get a little more distance, maybe a little more speed out of each rotation of the pedals.
Why on earth do they call something so wacky looking an ordinary bike?
The ordinary is named in contrast to the safety bike. So these come later, and these are really a revolution in bicycle, and this really sets the stage for the bikes we're still riding today. These are introduced in the US about 1887. They're obviously much safer than an ordinary bike. You don't have to make that vault to get up into the saddle. You don't have as far to fall if something goes wrong. So they're called safety bikes versus the standard or ordinary bike.
And is this the point at which the public says, we want to start biking?
This is really when it takes off, yeah, about 1891, and people just went bicycle crazy, and for the next 4 or 5 years, they were everywhere.
Unfortunately, when the automobile came along, the popularity of bicycles went into steep decline. But the affection for them from kids and kids at heart remained. This is something I would have loved to have owned.
Yeah, so this is every kid's dream, the late 60s, the early 1970s. Bikes start to copy automobile and motorcycle design. And the Twin Stingray is a classic example of that. It looks like a chopper bike with the longhorn handlebars, the big banana seat, and this almost looks a little like a drag racing car. You see it's got the small front tire with the big drum brake, the big rear tire.
Since that time, biking, it seems, has just kept getting more and more popular.
Yeah, biking really had a second boom in the 1970s as people just got interested in physical fitness generally, and as multi-speed or 10-speed bikes came on the scene.
I kind of want to see you on that ordinary bike again, just because it's so cool.
Sure. And you know, I've got just the thing for you, too.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm going to yield to Big Wheel over here. Ah! Wait for me!